This 2024 NBA Draft Preview and Draft Prop Bets edition of the NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 325 times your entry with their new Pick 8. Sign up with the promo code NBA SGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. That's UnderdogFantasy.com. Make sure you use that promo code NBA SGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get the best data-driven props and picks from Rhythm. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Welcome, everyone, to the NBA Gambling Podcast, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is about 48 hours away from the NBA draft happening on Thursday, I believe. I'm getting caught up, and that's why I brought in the experts here to fill me in what everything is going on for the NBA draft. We'll go through, the first 10 picks here. We'll talk about some of the best talent that is going to be in this NBA draft, and we'll give you some draft prop bets that we do like as well for the NBA draft coming up. But joining me first, here to help me break everything down for the NBA draft, you guys know him as the voice of the MLB Gambling Podcast. And of course, here on the NBA Gambling Podcast, got my guy here with me. It's Lonte Smith. Lonte, what's going on, my man? How you doing?
Munaf, doing pretty good, man. Glad to be on with you. Feel like I haven't been on the podcast with you in years. So feels good to be here. One of my favorite times of the year. So yeah, man, glad you and Mac are here with me as well.
Yeah, it's been a minute since you and I did a pod. I know we did a lot of the Sunday shows on for the NFL pod. But yeah, it's been a while. I know we do MLB as well. But yeah, good to be here talking hoops for the NBA draft coming up. But also joining us here to help us break down the NBA draft, one of the hardest working men on the college side of things. You can find him on the college basketball experience, the college football experience, and also the Big 12 experience as well. It's my main man, Ryan McIntyre, Moneyline Mac. Mac, what's going on, my man? How you doing?
What's up, guys? I appreciate you having me. And yeah, it's weird for me because I watch these guys all year round, and then poof, they're gone. They're off to the next level, and interested to see where they go because, I mean, you watch them from the college level and how it translates to the next level at the NBA. Sometimes the best guys at the college don't translate to the NBA, and vice versa, where you turn on the NBA playoffs and you're like, where did this guy play? And it's like, oh, yeah, he was at Colorado back 10 years ago, and he was just a role guy. Now he's one of the stars in the NBA. So, yeah, looking forward to breaking this down.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see like this, especially this draft coming up, where it's, we were talking offline that it doesn't have that big, sexy name. Like we had like Wimby last year. You had guys like Brandon Miller last year, Scoot Henderson out of the, Ignite. You had, a whole bunch of other college players that had a lot of success as well in the college ranks. But I think this draft, and you guys are I brought in the experts here just for that reason, that this might be a draft where those teams that need that depth to be either a championship contender or just be a playoff contender, those type of players are in this draft where you can, make that difference for a team, again, like I mentioned, be contending or, being outside and watching the playoffs again from their couches when it comes to the NBA season next year coming up. But so what we do, like I mentioned, we'll get Mac's thoughts on some of the best college players coming out of the college ranks, translating their game to the NBA. We'll get Lonte's thoughts as well. He follows the college basketball ranks very closely, and then we'll go through round one, only the top 10 picks here, and then we'll give you some draft props that we do like for this draft happening on Thursday. Full disclosure, the biggest menu, we were talking about this offline before we got on here, is that it's going to be over on DraftKings. And as we kind of work up, 24 hours away, about 48 hours away, these lines are significantly going to move. So, if you have those draft props available, I would jump on them now before some of those numbers move from a plus price, so sometimes over to a minus price, because there's information that does come out. But definitely going to be an interesting year. Obviously, last year, Victor Wembanyama was the big prize. He did go number one overall to the San Antonio Spurs, followed by Brandon Miller, Scoot Henderson, Amen Thompson, Asura Thompson, the Thompson brothers, and then you had Anthony Black from Arkansas, Jarvis Walker from my parts of the world from Houston. He went number 8 overall. Taylor Hendricks, number 8 to the Utah Jazz. And the top 10 was rounded off by Cason Wallace out of Kentucky. And then Jett Howard, I think, was the biggest surprise last year at number 11 overall to the Orlando Magic. Before I get Mac's thoughts here, some of the best players that are available in this draft from the college ranks here, let me tell you guys quickly about the Sports Gambling Podcast. Hey, look, they've started their top 10 fantasy football previews series. They already did the quarterbacks and the tight ends to get you guys ready for the fantasy football drafts. There should be, some people are already drafting. We're not that far away from football season. So make sure you guys tune in with Sports Gambling Podcast with Sean and Kramer over there, because it's never too early to be talking about the National Football League. Mac, I'm going to turn this over to you. Obviously, UConn wins the national championship in March Madness. We saw Dan Hurley's name. Maybe it was smoke and mirrors, maybe trying to get more money out of UConn, but his name was linked with the Lakers, but eventually they did win with J.J. Redick from Duke from I don't know how long ago. But let me get your thoughts here. If you want to go through your list of the top guys that are available here, and then we'll get Lonte's thoughts as well, and then we'll do like our mock draft, I said. So I'm going to turn this over to you. If you want to go from like 10-1, or if you want to mix it up, I'm just going to give you the floor. I'm going to be all ears here, my man.
Yeah, I'll kind of mix and match, and then I guess we can kind of, I'm sure that we'll somewhat see eye to eye, but one of the main reasons why UConn was able to win back-to-back national championships, they did lose some guys last year to the draft, but they brought in the freshman sensation, Stephon Castle. And he's honestly my top guy in terms of the college guys, just because I thought that he got better and better, and he can guard multiple positions. And the more and more I watch the NBA, especially in the playoffs, you got to have guys that can switch, guard multiple positions. Defensive versatility is the main thing that comes to mind. And when they put the ball in his hands, he was able to create off ball screens for himself, for his teammates. The biggest knock is he's shot 30% from 3. So I think he'll be able to improve as that goes along. But you know what you're getting with him. He's a winner. He's unselfish. He won a national championship. And I'll go right into my second guy, and it is Clingan, because maybe I'm just a little biased for the guys that win, but Clingan, 7'3", 7'7" wingspan, good feet. And I thought he got better offensively with his feel around the rim. And he was such a dominant rim protector that he would block shots without them even attempting it, meaning that they would drive it in and they wouldn't even attempt to try and shoot a layup against him, because he was that dominant and every guard was looking over their shoulder. So those are my top 2 guys, and they're both from UConn. They both come from a winning program. Do you want to just bounce it around and play off that?
Yeah, Lonte, thoughts on those 2 guys? Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah, I love those 2 guys. I think Mac broke it down pretty good. I mean, especially with Castle. I think Castle is interesting because now it's been rumored that he's not working out for teams with a point guard. Not that, I mean, I don't think any of that matters anyway, because I mean, you can't really control where you go unless your name's Bronny James. But I mean, his shot is the biggest like knock to his game. I mean, defensively, he's probably the best like on ball defender in the draft. The only thing is just like his shot. If he shot just remotely like to average, I think he would be the clear-cut number 1 pick in the draft, regardless of team. But as far as Mac, now is that your big board, or is just like your mock draft?
Yeah,
just so I get it straight.
Yeah, that was just my big board, because
okay,
I know some of the foreign guys that I did not get eyes on are going to go 1 and 2.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. I just want to.
Yeah.
So I got like big board wise, as far as just best available, like from the college level, I got Reed number 1, and then I have Clingan number 2. Simply because Reed he's got a translatable skill that every NBA team is going to need, regardless of if they won 60 games or they lost 60 games. He's always going to need shooting. I think Reed can come in and play for any team in the NBA, get nice rotational minutes. To me, he's kind of a cross between like a Derek White minus the defense to, Peyton Pritchard, because he has some of that ball handling. He's played point guard. We saw Pritchard play point guard at Oregon at a high level. I think Reed is obviously a better player than Pritchard is. And the shooting is just off. I mean, he shot 50% from 3. Like some of his like advanced metrics, going from like, wide open shots to off the dribble, like off the catch, like it's pretty much a layup whenever he's shooting the ball. So I have Reed number 1, just because that skill is something that every NBA team needs. And then with Clingan, I mean, you can't just put into numbers how effective he was for UConn as far as protecting the rim. And even his freshman year, he was pretty productive behind a good center in Sonogo. I think it was Sonogo. Yeah, Sonogo played.
Yeah.
So he was effective in small amounts of time. He's played good with talent around him. The only thing that bothers me is kind of he doesn't play. He hasn't played, I think, over 25 minutes in like 2 years. So that's kind of concerning. He has a foot injury. Big guys with foot injuries don't really go well together. But, I mean, if he goes to Atlanta or anybody in the top 3 outside of Washington, I think he's not going to be asked to be like a complete like 35-minute player. He's going to play well in spurts, block shots, rim run. So I got Reed and Klingon, but I don't disagree with Mac as far as like Castle and Klingon, obviously, we both agreed on, but I don't disagree with Mac with Castle. I just value the shooting with Reed a little bit more.
So Lonte, we'll go back to the college here in just a second, but we talk about a lot of the foreign guys, right? The guys coming out of France and things like that. So who's your number one overall? Is it a guy from college or is it an international guy? Like
just big board wise?
Yeah, big board wise. Like best available. Yeah. If you had the number one pick right now, if you're the GM of Atlanta, who would you take number one?
Yeah, I would take Reed. To be honest, I would take Reed just because, I mean, you got to have some kind of spacing. He's shown to be on ball or off ball. You know what I'm saying? So I think he's played well with talent. Obviously, he played with like 2 or 3 guys who are going to be drafted in this draft and probably another, 1 or 2 in next year's draft. So he's played around talent. So if you could take some pressure off with Trae Young, depending on, who's there or whatever the case may be, just speculation. But I think you can plug Reed into literally any team and he will thrive, whether that's, in the 6th or 7th man role, if you want to throw him into, starting role. So I think Reed, I would take Reed, but like mock draft wise, I have Klingon going 1 just because of like need. But as far as just if I was a GM, I would take Reed first.
All right, Mac, take us down your list. What you got after 1 and 2?
So yeah, I had Reed and my notes. I think Lonte took my bullet was if he's fucking open, it's going in. Like he makes catch and shoots, he makes them off the bounce. He's an electric 3-point shooter, and it was amazing that he didn't start at Kentucky. But I mean, that's kind of one of the reasons why Kentucky lost to Oakland in the NCAA tournament. But I digress. The next guy I love Dalton Connect. I think he's got size. He makes shots. This was his first year coming up from Northern Colorado, making the jump to the SEC. I think he's a proven scorer because he can make shots coming off screens. He can make them off the bounce as well. I like him as my number 4 guy. My number 5 guy, and this guy has really rose up the rankings, and I thought that he kind of kept Providence in the hunt for an at-large last year when Bryce Hopkins went down, and that is Devin Carter. And he started at South Carolina with Frank Martin. Then he plays for Ed Cooley. Then he plays for Kim English last year. He's a bulldog, like Ryan Hasties in the chat saying, us college guys love this kid. He got better and better. Kind of another guy where if you do knock him a little bit, maybe consistency making shots. But I kind of think of a guy like Derek White that we just watched in the finals, where that can guard, make open shots, plays hard. And you don't really have to run plays for him to impact winning. So those were my top 5. It was Castle, Klingon, Reed, Connect, and then Carter for my top 5 college prospects.
So, Mac, if you had the number 1 overall pick from the guys you just gave, at least from the college ranks, who you're taking number 1?
I would actually take Castle, and I think I'm the only one that's saying that. And it just goes to, I think that they were so well coached and they were so well rounded that I think he can play the point when you need him to play. I think he can play off the ball. I think he can be one of the most dominant on ball defenders in the league. And I think I think he cares about winning, and he's going to take that 30% clip. And we see this in the NBA, guys that want to get to that second, third contract and make a shitload of money. I think he's going to turn into a good 3-point shooter. So I would take Castle, with his only knock really being that he's not a consistent 3-point shooter right now.
I mean, look, Castle right now, 22-1 currently over on DraftKings for first overall pick. Reed, 75-1. So if you guys are listening, maybe put a little Bitcoin on that. Monte, any thoughts on what Mac just mentioned on 4 and 5 for his list?
No, I mean, I agree. If he's just going, you're just going college players, right, Mac?
Yeah.
Just strictly college players. I think my 5 is similar. I have, I have Klingon, Reed, Klingon, Reed, Castle, Cody Williams, and Devin Carter. So we pretty much see eye to eye except for on Connect. And then actually my sixth player is Connect. So yeah, not too much separation there. I mean, the only thing I would say with Connect is I think he has to be in the right system to be effective and how you want to, how you really want him to maximize his value. Like teams that are in, we saw it with like Jaime Jaquez, with some of these older guys who went to win now teams and were kind of productive. We've seen Pajimski go to Golden State, who was ready to play. So I think he can fit that mold of a team. I'm thinking off the top of my head, I have him going to. Do I have him going to? My bad. This is bad podcasting. I got him going to Memphis. So I mean, Memphis is 2 years away from. 2 years removed from being a 2 seed. I think they need shooting. He can help them out immediately as far as with stretching the floor. He's got versatility, size. He can play inside and out. We saw him work the mid-range. And I mean, a lot of people were knocking his, quality of opponent. He came from Northern Colorado. But when he got to the SEC, if you look at his game log, he dominated against all of the dominant teams like Carolina. He had good games against Kentucky. And we saw him wheel them all the way to the Elite Eight by himself, pretty much. He was the only option on the team as far as offense. So I think he carried a lot of burden for that team. So I think he in the right spot. But he's one of the risers though. So Matt could be, right. Like I think he went from like overall position being 9 to now is pretty much locked in that he's going, under 7.5, under 6.5. So Mac might be onto something with that. But those are my top 5 as far as just college prospects. I would go with Klingon, Shepard, Castle, Cody Williams, and then Devin Carter.
Yeah, right now, don't connect if you think he goes top 5 right now, 5-1, currently over on DraftKings if you want to snipe that up for the NBA draft. All right, guys, before we continue the conversation here for more of the NBA draft prop betting, let me tell everyone about our friends over at Underdog Fantasy. Pick 8 is now live, and you can create entries with up to 8 picks, and Underdog will automatically double flex entries. So you can miss up to 2 picks and still win your entry. With more picks to make and extra ways to win, the excitement is higher than ever. The best part, you can win up to 325 extra original amount. You can now use specials and boost on all flex entries. Don't miss your chance to try it out before it's gone. Plus, if you're already a user, deposit between now and UFC 303 for a 10% bonus cash. Again, if you already have an account, you can deposit between now and UFC 303 on Saturday for a 10% bonus cash. So sign up with promo code NBA SGPN and claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. Again, that's UnderdogFantasy.com. Make sure you guys use that promo code NBA SGPN. And guess what? Circa Sports is back with Circa Survivor and Circa Millions, giving away $16 million in guaranteed prizes. That's right. 16 million in guaranteed prizes. Of course, Circa contests have no rake. Circa Millions pick 5 NFL teams against the spread each week and compete for $6 million or survive the NFL gauntlet to compete and claim the $10 million prize. Sign up in person at Circa Sports between now and September 7th and use a proxy to play from anywhere. We even have a deal with footballcontestproxy.com to save you $50 with promo code SGP. Don't have a trip booked for Las Vegas yet before football? Well, Ultimate Contest Weekend is a great time to go out. Hang out with Ryan and Sean and enjoy some of the open bar events at the greatest sports book in the world from August 22nd through August 24th. All right, guys. We went through the college guys here, at least the top 5 on Mac's list and Lonte's list. Lonte, I know we have international guys in this draft here as well that, obviously are mixed into the odds here as well. On your list, at least when it comes to the top international guys, who do you have at least within maybe your top 3, 4, 5 guys that you think that would probably end up being either number 1 overall pick or even go in the top 5?
Yeah, well, I think Reichel will go 1 to Atlanta. Reichel is a prototype. I mean, if you haven't watched, it's just prototypical 6'8", 6'9" wing. Kind of prides himself on 3-and-D kind of style. He played for G League Ignite. He was like mocked to go. Like if you look back in, maybe like November, December before college really got going, he was pretty much mocked to go first. So I have him and then Alex Sarr, which is a versatile big, block shots. He his brother plays for the Oklahoma City Thunder. He's a long, athletic, kind of compares to, maybe like Rudy Gobert, but I think he's more Jaren Jackson-esque than Rudy Gobert. Just he doesn't have the offense, but he's going to block shots, rim run, dunk. So I have those two at the top, and then I have Buzelis next, who I think will probably be. If I had to make a bet on anybody, I would bet Buzelis has the best career of any of the international guys. Simply because, he's got a fire in him. He loves to compete. He even challenged. He's been calling out Ricochet for like workouts to come play one-on-one, but he says Ricochet's ducking him, don't want to play him. So, I like guys like that who want to compete against the best. He feels like he's the better of the two. So I think he'll likely go to Detroit. And I know it's not the sexy situation, but they don't have a wing. They got rid of Bogdanovich. You got Cade and Ivy on the wing, in the backcourt, so they could use a nice wing, good size. If he can continue his shooting, he was injury prone in G League Ignite, but he's still pretty much he pretty much shot the ball pretty well. So I have Buzelis third, and then all the way down we'll get to Topic, who had an injury, but I still got him going pretty high, just pure upside. Big point guard, struggles with the shot, but he gets guys involved, can run an offense. It's just you're taking a chance on him. I think he has a torn MCL. The doctors, like his agents, were trying to downplay it a little bit, making sure that teams still get him there. But so we don't know the severity of that. So I feel bad for him because he's pretty much locked in the top 10. And granted, he still might go in the lottery, but the difference between 9, 10, and 12 and 13 is a decent amount of money. But I have him as my next guy. And then Tijan Salon, who I think is, you remember we did the show and we talked about Bilal Koulibaly, who was making that rise. I think he is a guy from France who's making a nice trend upward. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see him, get to the lottery. I have him just outside right now, but I feel like he's more of a raw prospect, kind of like how Bilal was, kind of came on a little bit later on everybody's radar, but I could see him fitting in with a team who needs a versatile, guard who can, play off ball, play on ball, defend. So I think he'll be one of those late risers. If anybody, if you're surprised, like the Jet Howard when he got drafted, I think Tijan Salon could be your guy.
All right, Mac, take us down your list here now. I know you give us top 5. Where are we going for about 6 to 10?
For the college ranks, I had Cody Williams, so I know Lonte gave out Cody Williams and helps that his brother's in the league as well in a good organization. He looks the part of that new look NBA 3-and-D guy. So I like Cody Williams. He got better and better at Colorado last year. For my next guy, I did have Rob Dillingham. This guy's a bucket. He scores at all 3 levels. He can score off the bounce. He's another guy that shot it at a high clip from 3. Keep making jokes about how Kentucky lost to Oakland. Well, Dillingham and Reed didn't play enough, clearly. But he's not afraid to score the basketball. So I had Dillingham as my number 7. As my number 8 for the collegiate guys, I did have, and this one I think I'm a little bit on an island, I got Jacoby Walter, another guy at Baylor, talented guy. I think he measured out at like 6'9", 6'10" wingspan, scores at all 3 levels. He played with really good guards at Baylor, so he didn't have the ball in his hands as much as I think that he's going to at the next level. I think he kind of like Castle, just fit in with the good culture, good program, and he fit his role. And I think he's got a really, really high upside. At number 9 for the college guys, I guess I'll go with Jared McCain from Duke. I think he's another guy. If you leave him open, it's going in. He makes open shots. He makes them off the bounce. If you fly by, he's got that one dribble to the side. The James Harden shot, the flyby shot, I think is what they call it. So that's my number 9. And then my number 10, and I know a lot of people hate this guy, I do have Zach Edey. I do have Zach Edey as my number 10 value, and I think Lonte's got a good spot for him. I hope he does go there. He's 7'5", 7'4", whatever the hell you think he is. He can score over both shoulders. Defensively will be the biggest transition for him, but it's not like at the college game they weren't putting him in every other ball screen. So I think he needs to go to the right place, but I think also he's better from the perimeter than people give him credit for. He shot 80% from the foul line. So I think he has the upside of potentially being a nice 10-year vet in the NBA.
All right, yeah. I'll get to a name in a second that you didn't have on your list. Kind of pulling your legs here a little bit, but
there you go.
Lonte, any other college guys you want to mention, or what Mac just mentioned to round out his top 10 available college players?
Yeah. So Dillingham is like an interesting case. I mean, if you just read and hear about like some of the things that GMs or I guess anonymous scouts would say. I mean, a lot of them either love him or they like him but don't like his size. But he's the best like shot creator, like go get a bucket guy in the draft, like by far. So if we were judging off, hey, we need 5 quick points, Dillingham is your guy. And I know a couple of people that's close to him, and they kind of they really just don't know either. Like they say they can see him going anywhere from 8 to San Antonio, all the way down to like 15 to Miami. So it's a wide range, and I think a lot of guys are in that situation as well. But Rob is one of those kind of guys who I wouldn't be surprised. Lou Williams, Jordan Clarkson, he's that kind of microwave scorer off the bench. So I think he's one of the more like prolific guys. Went to Donda whenever they had when Kanye had the school. So he was, going there to play. And yeah, man, I like Rob. I mean, he's from North Carolina, so I'm always rooting for those guys. But I think Rob is one of those guys that if he's in the right situation, he can really like blossom. Everything else that Max said, I think I pretty much agree with. I have just to round out, I think I gave my top like 8, like just to round out 9 and 10.
Yeah,
I got Ron Holland from the G League Ignite, high motor guy. Munaf, he averaged 20 points per game in the G League, and he can't shoot. So like that's just pure like motor grit. I think he would be a good fit for like Utah or even Memphis. But Memphis kind of needs that shooting, so I can see why they would pass on him. But Ron Holland in Utah is where I have him. I think he's going to be a really, really high character guy. Everybody always talks about how fun he is in the locker room. Good locker room guy. I think that goes underappreciated when we're talking about the draft. The guys who can be around other, stars or teammates and feel comfortable or make them feel comfortable. So, I have Holland and then Dillingham rounding out. Dillingham and then Edey going to Oklahoma City. Yeah, I got Edey going to Oklahoma City. I think that's a perfect spot for him for obvious reasons. I mean, they can allow Chet to rim run and be like, what we saw with Anthony Davis and Dwight Howard type of thing. Obviously not comparing the two to those two, but just similar styles. So I think we can see something like that with Chet and Edey if he does go there, or maybe like Cat and Gobert. So
yeah, makes a lot of sense. Mac, the one guy on your list you didn't mention. I know you're a huge fan of Kyle Filipowski. I'm surprised he's not on your list, my man. What's going on there? Why is he not on your list?
I knew you were going there. I was like, he could either go with the Pitt guy, Bob Carrington, who is good. He can score. No, I'm gonna miss some of these guys. I will not miss Flopkowski. So you guys can have him in the NBA. From an actual basketball analysis,
do you think he's NBA ready?
No, I think he's soft as shit. I mean, I know we make the joke about him flopping when a fraternity kid that weighed 150, if that, it basically knocked him over and he acted like he blew out his knee, ankle. He's still trying to figure out what he injured. But I felt like when teams were physical with him, it bothered him. So yeah, he's talented. I mean, he's 6'10", he can bounce it, and if he gets in the right system, they can use him kind of as a scorer. But I don't really, the jury's still out on him. Yeah. I personally think he's overrated. And I know that's coming from a biased take too, because I'm not a fan of him, but from an actual basketball analysis, I'm not a fan really of his game. I thought he'd be better at this point in his career. I'm not going to lie.
All right. So that'll round off the top 10 available guys. I think not we, but Lonte and Mac on their college list. I think that was really, really solid discussion there. We'll do we'll kind of rapid fire the top 10 here. That I want to get to one more, I think, a very, very hot topic, obviously, in the NBA draft for this upcoming draft. But before we do the top 10 mock draft here, let me tell everyone, about our newest sponsor on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Hey, that's going to be Rhythm. If you're betting on player props, and of course you are because you're listening to this special episode for the NBA draft coverage, you guys need to make sure to download Rhythm. Rhythm is a go-to sports betting tool that transforms complex data into actionable insights, empowering bettors with smarter data-driven decisions. Unlike any other platforms, Rhythm combines advanced predictive analytics with an intuitive user experience, making both betting easy and enjoyable. Rhythm's predictive models were born from the brains of MIT data scientists and quants with over 3 years of data that help drive you to better AI-backed betting decisions. So all you got to do to claim your 7-day free trial today is go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. All right, Lonte, let's go through the top 10 picks here. We'll mix in, what you have, whether it's international guys or college guys, best available, best fit, whatever the case might be here. So with the first overall pick in this upcoming draft, we've got the Atlanta Hawks. Who do you have the Hawks taking number 1 overall?
Yeah, I got them taking Klingen. I think they'll, I think it's a need for them, regardless of where they want to take their, their franchise with Murray and Trey. They got two bigs one big Capella, who's probably going to be gone. So they got a need for a young rim protector that, Utah did something similar when Quinn was there with Rudy. So I think he has some experience with those big guys, 7-footers who are really good on defense. So I got them taking Klingen.
Yeah, I think that the front court depth right now, I know they traded John Collins to Utah, like you mentioned, but it was Okongwu. I mean, they had a lot of injuries last year, right? Okongwu was injured last year for them for majority of the season. Clint Capella was in and out. So DeAndre Hunter being more of like, I guess we could say maybe a 3-and-D guy for them. I think they're a little bit thin up front. So I think this is a good spot here for Klingen to go number 1 overall. Right now, you could get at plus 250 to be the number 1 overall pick. But again, definitely shop around for the best number because the odds are going to vary, maybe even by the minute, as we're kind of talking about it here for the upcoming NBA draft. So the number 2 overall pick right now belongs to the Washington Wizards here. Lonte, where do you think they're going?
Yeah, I go with Alex Sarr. He's not working out for Atlanta. He likes to he doesn't want the pressure, so to speak. And if you just dig into his past, you can see he has a history of doing stuff like this. Didn't play with he went from G League Ignite to a lower league in Australia. Came off the bench actually in that league. So I believe that they'll go with Sarr. They have a lot of front court depth. You saw them get rid of Daniel Gafford. I think their center was actually, I think they were playing a lot of like
Denny Avdia.
Yeah, Avdia. Like they were playing like small ball, real small ball. So I think Sarr can go there, rim protect, kind of help out the defense. They'll be long for sure with him, Coulibaly, Kuzma, and I guess Jordan Poole will be there as well. So I'm going with Alex Sarr. He's like overwhelming favorite to go there. I think like minus 750. So, and Gavoni, who's obviously one of the more famous draft pundits, says it's pretty much a lock for him to go there. Now that's always obviously not the case, but I'm pretty sure he's got some good intel there.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a couple of years ago where it was the Paulo Banchero draft where he was supposed to go number 3 to I believe it was the Rockets, and then it was supposed to be who did we draft that was supposed to go number 1 that year? Was it Jabari? I think that was a Jabari year, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. But yeah, right now, like you mentioned, Sarr right now is minus 650 to be the 2nd overall pick. All right, 3rd overall pick. Where are we going?
Yeah, I like Risichet here. Now, granted, anything can change. I think this pick, I think this pick will be moved though. I don't think you guys will be making this pick. I think you'll see some type of trade with Memphis. You guys, Ime, obviously, history with Marcus Smart. So I think they've been working on something behind the scenes to get that. So I don't think you'll be making this pick, but just for sake, so we won't have to get into all the fake stuff because I'm basically just making it up until it actually happens. Just what I think. So yeah, I'll go with Risichet. I think he'll be the best available player at 3.
Yeah, I think for the Rockets, it was just going to keep on getting trapped with this 3rd overall pick or 4th overall pick. Right. And it's like we're trying to decide on what we want to do. It's like, are we going with the youth movement? But because we signed, Van Vliet last season, we brought over Dillon Brooks as well. And now the rumors of Marcus Smart, which I'm not a huge fan of, to bringing him to this team. But again, it's also like the fact of what do you want to do with Jalen Green, right? And Jalen Green, I guess, hasn't really panned out just yet. Jabari Smith, I think he's growing from year over year. I think that's been exciting. I really want to see Amen Thompson get more playing time because I know he's more that guy that can really make a difference at that starting point guard position. I know we had Fred VanVleet there, but I think that needing veteran guys in the locker room is something big for this Rockets culture right now after what transpired when they were under Steven Silas and the James Harden era. So, yeah, we'll see what they do over number 3 overall pick. Number 4 is going right now to the San Antonio Spurs. Obviously, last year we talked about Wemby. They're also kind of in now a period where they want to build about Wemby, and they have a lot of guys, young talent, the Devin Vassell's of the world, the Keldon Johnsons, Trey Jones is there as well. So where do you think they're going with the number 4 overall pick here at the Spurs?
Best shooter in the draft, man, Reed Shepherd. That would be a elite combo with him and Wemby on the pick and roll. I'm telling you, if he goes to the Spurs at 4, or if they like move up to get him or whatever the case may be, I'll be making a decent sized wager for him to win Rookie of the Year, because I think that attention that he'll bring along with Wemby with those pick and rolls, he's shown that he's been able to handle the ball, get guys in position to score, come off the bench if they need him to, whatever they need to do. And the Spurs need 2 things. They need shooting. They need a passer. They were using Sohan at the point guard. That didn't work. They were kind of, rotating guys in. Devontae Graham was here and there. You had the Jones in, and they were just rotating too many guys. So if you get a consistent player like Reed, I think he'll be able to uplift everybody around him, especially with the threat of Wemby, being basically any and everything you need on both ends. And I think he'll cover up, some of the defensive questions that a lot of people have about Reed. So I have him taking Reed at number 4.
I think it's difficult to say that you're getting a steal at number 4. I mean, it's because it's a top 5 pick here. But Matt, do you think Reed at going number 4 to Spurs is a steal at that point?
Yeah, I've had him at number 3. So like, I think if you get him at
that's why
4,
I like Mac.
Yeah, it's I think it'd be great for the Rockets. He's the best shooter in the draft, and like I said, if he's open, it's going fucking in. So he's gonna be great at the next level. I think he's one of those guys where you look back, he was good in college, and then you're gonna look back and be like, man, he was better in the NBA career wise than he was in that short stint at college.
As most Kentucky guards.
I was just gonna say the
same. How that works.
You can go down the list. You can go down the list.
How many pros they got now?
It's wild.
Yeah, plenty.
5, Lonte. We got the Detroit Pistons. Who do you have them taking?
Yeah, I got Matas Buzelis going 5. Like I said, I think that they'll need a good 3-and-D wing. Obviously, starting over, they got a really good, I don't know if he's a GM or the president of basketball ops, whatever he is, who came over from New Orleans. He has a real good track record of drafting this prototype of guys and wanting this prototype of guys that Buzelis is, whether that's, Ingram, whether that's Herb Jones. He didn't draft Ingram, obviously, but, development-wise, he went out and got him. Herb Jones, you got, what's my guy named? The backup, I forgot his name. But, yeah, Trey Murphy in there as well. So I think Buzelis fits that mold of player there. So I got them taking Buzelis at 5.
Hornets at 6.
6, I got the Hornets taking Stephon Castle. Regardless, I know people are saying that, he didn't work out for them. They already have a point guard. I don't care. I think he is just so much like upside as far as defense, intensity. He can play without the ball as he's shown. He had Tristan Newton handling the ball pretty much 90% of the time. So he's able to do that whenever he's called upon to initiate offense. He can do that as well. But I think mostly you want him for his defensive intensity, connectability, to be able to connect things. And we all know LaMelo hasn't stayed healthy. So he can come in and play point guard. He says he's wants to play point guard at the next level. So I think he'll have plenty of opportunities to do that with the Hornets.
Hornets are a lot of young talent, right? They had Mark Williams down in the front court. Yep. They drafted Brandon Miller last year. So, I mean, this team has been one of the worst defensive teams, and you've had Brandon Miller with, Stephon Castle, like you guys talked about. I mean, that'll give them some really good defensive ability, I think. Only way for them to go is really up to improve on the defensive side of the basketball. The 7th overall pick, Lonte, belongs to the Portland Trail Blazers.
Yeah, I got them taking Cody Williams. Portland, I have no idea what the hell they're doing. I don't think they have an idea what they're doing either. They didn't have a good draft last year. It's pure upside. Cody Williams didn't have the best season at Colorado, nagging injuries, but like Mac said earlier, he fits the part, long, lengthy. He's got the lineage with Jalen, his brother, being at Oklahoma City. He's probably a better athlete than Jalen, but size-wise, girth, I think being able to get to your spots. Jalen was more offensively polished, and that's obvious because he spent more time in college than Cody. But just raw ability, I think upside is there. And it's rumors floating around about Jeremy Grant, maybe getting moved as well. So they might need some perimeter shot making, and he's okay on defense as well.
Yeah, a lot of young talent right now in Portland, right? I know they had Scoot Anderson last year, a lot of turnovers. He still needs to polish his game.
Yep.
He's still a couple years away, I think, from being a legitimate NBA player. Jeremy Grant, I think you're right that he's probably going to be on the move, especially with that contract that he does have with the Blazers. And again, an organization that post Damian Lillard era, post CJ era, like they don't know what the hell they're doing right now. So I think that this might be the last year we see Chauncey there at Portland.
Yeah, I think so.
Coaching this team. Number 8, I think with Spurs at number 8, I think, do you think there's a possibility that they trade this pick to either move up into a top 3, or do you say just add more depth around Wemby?
Honestly, I think it depends on who's there. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, I have them taking Devin Carter, which is another guard who I think fits Pop's system. He also feels both of those needs like Reed does. So if you can get Reed and him, and if you look at Devin Carter, Devin Carter is like a dog of a human being. Like led the Big East in scoring, was 3rd in rebounding, and he's a guard. He played really well. Transferred from South Carolina, where they didn't know what to do with him. So I think that Devin Carter, if Devin Carter's there, I think it's a good shot. You kill 2 birds with one stone. You get 2 ball handlers, 2 shooters. I think he shot probably 37-38% from 3. He knows how to play the secondary role. Bryce Hopkins, I think Mac mentioned it at the top, was supposed to be the best player, Kentucky transfer. He went down, and Devin Carter just kind of ascended into a role. So he's played on both sides, being the primary and the secondary. And obviously he's going to be secondary or third, obviously, because of Wemby and whoever else is in front of him. But yeah, I like him going there to the Spurs.
And then round us up with 9 with Memphis, and then Jazz at 10.
Yeah, so I'm going with Dalton Connect with Memphis. I think we pretty much talked about it at the top. He fits all their needs as far as shooting, positional size, like Mac mentioned. And then I got Ron Holland going 10 for Utah. I just think some of the things that you just can't teach, like motor, high IQ, just a smart basketball player. He's going to give it his all every time, whether he's out there for 10 minutes or 20 minutes. I think you just can't teach that certain style. And he's only going to get better. The shot's going to get better. But he plays well to his strengths. He knows he can't shoot it as well right now, so he doesn't settle as much. Obviously, he's going to knock down a 3 or 2 here and there. But if he can get consistent with it, I think he'll be a good pick. But that'll round out my top 10. I got Dalton Connect and Ron Holland.
All right, there it is, top 10. For Lonte for his mock draft right now for the draft coming up on Thursday for the NBA draft. Sorry, Wednesday. I don't know why.
Yeah, Thursday. Thursday is round 2.
Yeah, there you go. So Wednesday here for the NBA draft. Let's get to any prop bets that you guys do like for the draft. I know some of the numbers have moved, whether it's top 5 pick, top 10 pick, positional picks, anything that we do like here. Lonte, I'll let you lead it off, man. Do you have anything that you've already bet and it would still bet right now at the current number?
Yeah, hopefully everybody was watching the SGP show a couple of nights ago whenever it was on with Ryan and Sean, because it gave out some stuff that moved pretty significantly in our favor. But a couple that's still available, Devin Carter to go top 10 is -160. I know that's a little bit of juice, but if you just look at, I'm just going out. If we just go off just complete math, I know it's not a math podcast, but just his over under is set at 10.5, and it's juiced 170 to the under 10.5. Yeah. And if you look at, so before today, DraftKings had him -220 to go top 10, and then FanDuel had -160. So that's pretty much telling of what, and he's favored to go 8, 9, and 10. Like he's favored to go 8, 9, and 10 for his position. So, all that math just adds up to him going top 10. I'll lay the 160. That's probably one of my favorite bets on the board, along with Matas Buzelis, 5th pick overall. This -110 at FanDuel. It was plus money, but I think the one consistent thing with all mocks this whole time has been Matas Buzelis going to Detroit. I've had him there my whole time. And I know a couple of other guys who have had him there as well. I think he fits the mold of what they want to do, what they want to achieve. So those two, man, my favorite bets on the card.
Mac, anything stuck out to you as far as draft prop bets here?
I think Lonte's mock draft kind of talked me into this one, and I know I had him as my number 1, but what about Stephon Castle to the Hornets at +425? I'm seeing.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
I want to stab at that. I think the draft board shakes nice for them. I do like the Devin Carter one. And then I also liked the one that you teased out, Dalton Connect, to potentially go in the top 5, 4-1. I think he could sneak in. I think these teams are falling in love with him. So Carter and Connect were the 2 risers for me.
Yeah, Connect right now is favored to go 6th overall at plus 180. And right now for him to be a top 10 pick, obviously that's going to be around, I think it's minus like 650. So, kind of similar to what Mac is mentioning there, that teams are starting to fall in love with him, and maybe he does move up a couple draft on the draft board for some of these teams for the draft coming up on Wednesday. I again, Lonte took the words right out of my mouth with the Devin Carter, because it's minus 170 for his under 10.5, and his top 10 to be minus 160. So I think that would be the look that I would also go with as well. Donovan, I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. Donovan Clingan, under 3.5, for him to be a top 3 picks at plus 135. Do we see a world where, I mean, obviously we do see a world where he slips past the top 3 pick here, but I know, Lonte, you have him going number 1 overall.
Yeah. What was the odds that you said to go over? Under 3.5?
Plus 135 on DraftKings right now.
Yeah, and instead of betting that, just bet him to go number 1 at 2-1.
Okay.
Because I don't think he goes. I don't think he goes 2. If he doesn't go 1, then he's falling out of the top 3. I think.
Okay.
Just up, unless Memphis and Houston trades, because Memphis will go up to get Clingan for sure.
Okay.
And it's been rumors that the Spurs are talking, have talks with Clingan as well. So I think what I would do is I would just bet him to go first overall. Because if he doesn't go first overall, I think he'll go, past 5, maybe like 6 or 7, as long as nobody trades up. So I would play the number 1 overall pick. I got him at a big number, Munaf. So if he does go number 1, hey, we might be having a nice stadium swim night.
Hey, there we go. All right, so we got to get Clingan to get number 1.
Yeah, we got to.
Clingan.
Yeah.
So one more obviously hot topic of conversation that's going on this year with the draft is obviously Bronny James, and a lot of it, people may think or do think that it has to do with the name on the back of the jersey, because he is LeBron James' son here. Mac, let me start with you. Outside of him being LeBron James' son, if he wasn't the son of LeBron James as a basketball player, I think all 3 of us, and maybe more, a lot of us can agree that he is not NBA ready, at least in my eyes. And I think that obviously the odds are reflecting him, because the Lakers are favored minus 135 to draft him. And LeBron has said he wants to play with the son before he hangs it up or whatever the case might be. But just take the name off of the back of the jersey. Is this guy NBA ready?
I'll give 2 parts to this. Number 1 is it's a great story that he was able to come back from what he did. So
absolutely.
I think we actually forget that he had a heart attack last year, and it's a great story. But the second part, the harsh reality, hell no. I mean, there's nobody that's a role player on a bottom team in the Pac-12. And I've seen some people try and pump him up, like he's making shots in the open gym where there's no defense, and they've compared him to Deuce McBride. For me, that's insulting to Deuce McBride, because I coached Deuce McBride. He averaged 20 points a game on a top tier Big 12 team that was a top 10 team in America. So I mean, his dad has earned the right basically to have his son potentially get drafted. I mean, it's give and take, but he would not be in this conversation if his last name was not James. And that's okay. I mean, that's what I think we do great at SGPN, is we tell the truth. We don't try and sugarcoat and be like, no, he's got a high upside. No, his last name is James, and he's benefiting from that. But hey, all power to him. And I actually hope he has a good career, because he's had a lot of pressure on him. And I mean, what he overcame last summer, heck of a story.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I know the guys were talking about in the chat as well that his odds, at least from a draft position standpoint, has moved all the way up to 49.5 at over minus 180. But Lonte, same question, Bronny James.
Yeah, I think Mac summed it up pretty good. I thought that as far as just grading him off of this specific year, I think it's kind of unfair. I mean, he did have that, he's in cardiac arrest. He didn't get a full offseason with his team. He's coming back playing basketball, doesn't know his teammates. He gets there, Collier's hurt. A lot of guys are down with, are down that he didn't, haven't played with, or whatever the case may be. So I think it's kind of unfair to judge him like based on specifically that. But still, even coming out of high school, I didn't think he was ready to play in the NBA or play at the Pac-12, even at USC. Granted, USC is, big tradition, but I thought that he should have went back and played for Joyce at Duquesne. Yeah. And that would have kind of uplifted, because all he has to do, I mean, he has a lineage. All he has to do is go to a school, average 10 to 11 points a game, shoot 35%, 35% from three, have a few big games here and there. In a lower conference, going against lower competition. And no matter how good the draft is, he's going to be solidified in the first round, regardless. I mean, hell, we were talking about him. Well, not we, but people were talking about him in the first round, and he had probably the worst season of any high-profile athlete that we've ever seen. So, I mean, I get what what they're doing, and I mean, hey, nepotism's been around for whatever reason. I mean, shit. I hope if when my kids are up and Sean and Ryan are still around, I hope they hire my kids over your kids. Just showing the pure nepotism, man. But yeah, I'm rooting for him, bro. I really am. I don't think he's NBA ready right now. Can he develop into it? Hell yeah, he can. I mean, everybody has their own path. I'm rooting for him. He seems like a good kid. He's not like, he didn't ask for any of this, obviously. You know what I'm saying? So I'm rooting for him. I hope he goes to LA or wherever and puts off an amazing career as a role player or whatever, if he's a star, whatever the case may be. So I'm rooting for him. But like Mac said, he's not an NBA player right now.
Well, I agree 100% with both of what you guys just mentioned there. But right now, yeah, Lakers to draft him are -135, the odds-on favorite, obviously.
I think somebody might crash that party, though. I think somebody might crash that. I don't know who.
I mean,
somebody
would do
it. Somebody would do it.
I feel like it would be like Dallas at 9-1.
Yeah, Dallas.
And if you would really want like a long shot, Warriors at 35-1.
I brought that up with Sean and Ryan. LeBron loves that organization. Steph Curry's there. It's in
Draymond's
California.
there,
Draymond's there. Yeah.
The Celtics should do it just to get under LeBron's skin.
If Bob Myers was still there, I think they would draft. I 100% think they would draft him if Bob Myers was still there.
Last question for you guys before we wrap it up here, Mac. If there's one player that can sneak into the first round here, or maybe that is the Jet Howard, the surprise pick in round one, or maybe in the top 15, top 20 pick, who do you think that guy would be?
Ooh, good question. So I think this guy is actually already going to be in the first round. I think he's kind of like Bronny James. These are different circumstances. Terrence Shannon is a first round talent. He went through the personal shit last year. He's been found innocent. And I think the biggest knock on Terrence Shannon was that he wasn't very good defensively at times. However, he played for Chris Beard to start his career at Texas Tech, and he was a really good defender at Texas Tech. I think he went to Illinois. They're more offense, play in the open floor, and he kind of like Dalton Knecht got to just shoot every basketball, and he embraced that role. I think whoever he goes, you're going to look up and Terrence Shannon's going to have a hell of a career, and I like him to be the steal in this draft.
Love it. Lonte, same question.
I don't like this guy, but I just think that he'll go higher than what a lot of people think. Johnny Furphy from Kansas. He fits the description for a lot of teams as far as, big wing, shooting, young, raw. He didn't play like the first quarter of the season, and it wasn't because he was hurt. He just couldn't crack the rotation for Kansas, Kansas probably had their weakest team in, I don't know, maybe like 10, 15 years. And he still couldn't crack that rotation early, and then some injuries happened, and he cracked it. So I've been hearing guys say, I don't know if he got a green room invite, but I've been hearing guys say he can go as high as like 13 to Sacramento, 15, like in between that, anything between that range. And he's like minus like 275 to go, top 20. But I think he can go a little bit higher if some trades happen or whatever the case may be. Just take a look for. Let me look and see. Like, I can see somebody like Chicago drafting him, Sacramento, Portland even reaching to go get him. So I would think that Johnny Furphy is that guy.
All right. So that's gonna wrap it up here for the draft coverage for the 2024 NBA draft. A lot of good information here, from the college ranks, international players, where we guys do think guys end up, some draft prop bets there as well for you guys. So hopefully we do come out profitable for this NBA draft. Mac, appreciate you taking out the time to join us, man. I'm gonna give you the floor here. Anything that you want to plug and let our listeners that don't maybe listen to other pods on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, where can they find you? And shame on them if they're not.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys inviting me on to come into the association. But yeah, go check us out at the College Experience. We handicap every single game all year round. It's a riot over there. It's a party. Yeah, every single night we do college football as well. Colby's doing all 134 teams. I got the Big 12 show as well. So yeah, we watch these guys year round. Then they go to the NBA, and yeah, and go check out the Ryan and Rush show for all you West Virginia fans. And I gotta plug my guy Joe Mazzulla, baby, NBA champion. Let's go Celtics! Repeat next year.
There we go.
Joe Mazzulla actually put out that Kentucky team with John Wall and Boogie Cousins. People don't remember.
Yeah,
that.
He did. Bottom of the 131 zone. I noticed that the two big haters of Joe Mazzulla in terms of NBA gambling podcast hosts were not on the show tonight. I had something for them. They doubted my guy last year. He got that interim tag off, and boy, did they made the right decision. And
that's
future's bright there. Hell of a run for the Celtics.
Yeah.
Lonte, anything else?
No, man, Munaf, I appreciate you doing this, man. Getting a lot of draft content out is, that's my thing year round, and I appreciate Matt coming on. I love what they do over there at College Experience, highlighting some of the things that we do it all at the network anyway, covering things that a lot of other, companies don't do. So I think that we pride ourselves on doing that. They do a great job over there. So yeah, make sure everybody check them out for sure, especially if you need a kickstart for college football. And I think they go right into college basketball right after previewing every team. So yeah, man, they do a great job. Ryan, Kobe, Patty C, NC Nick, they do a great job. So yeah, make sure you check those guys out.
Yeah, 100%. Make sure you guys check out the College Experience. They cover basketball, football, baseball, and also Mac show covering the Big 12, and of course West Virginia with his show there as well. So make sure you guys follow Mac on Twitter if you're not already at Moneyline_Mac. You can follow Lonte there as well at XXLonteXX. You can follow me there as well at SportsNerd824. We'll be back later this week to wrap up the NBA season. We'll have some post-draft reaction. We'll talk about the championship odds for next season as well for the NBA. So join us later this week when we do that pod as well. We'll try to crank out 2 pods per week, at least for the NBA, since we are in the off season. I appreciate you, gentlemen. We'll talk to you guys later. Till then, good luck with your bets. Let's break these books off and let it ride.